60% of success in their direct mail campaigns came down to the list. In other words, just who they sent the goddamn letter to was the single most important thing. I'm not against outreach, but I don't understand why people have this obsession of going where it's the most crowd. It's like literally there's an 8-lane highway. You have the worst outcome in the world, and this is nothing against you. It's just like 8,000 other asshole marketers before you have ruined it. It is what I call the undefined more. Welcome, my brothers and sisters. Another exciting agency episode here. We're rocking some weekly Q&A. And just a quick little announcement for you guys. It's more bragging than anything. I got to brag a little bit. We got some cool stuff for you guys in the pipeline. I'm having some conversations with some of the top Google Ads experts in the work. I've got some stuff in the pipeline for you guys about Sean Clark and what I'm calling automation squared, which is bringing together go high levels automations with ChatGTP to actually come up with the stuff. And one of the things we talked about that I think will blow your mind is having automated sales conversations that are personalized and putting those on your clients' websites and having that as a value add, but not actually having to do anything, having AI do all the difficult kind of heavy lifting question answering. I've also got Jordan Silvera coming on tomorrow. You guys will see that. And he's created a plugin that does automated outreach using ChatGTP, meaning you can go on LinkedIn, push a button, and it'll write a personalized message to somebody, and you don't actually have to do that, and it scans their whole profile and sends the message. So this will help you guys with scaling those of you guys who are doing outreach. Also bringing on our man Mark Diodati, because he had some amazing, pretty fast results in our Loom workshop. I actually signed 20 clients, and he sent me a bunch of stressed out messages that he was actually getting so many people messaging him at once that he needed a CRM to manage his social media inbox. So we're going to share some of that so you guys can swipe and deploy that. And so I just wanted to let you guys know there's a bunch of shit in the pipeline for you guys that's really, really cool that I think you're going to be excited about. I've had a bunch of folks who checked out the old 7-figure soup to nuts who've been asking about the Mastermind. I will get back to you guys on that with some details. I just been a little busy right now. We're onboarding a few new staff this morning. I got my real estate team. We got a real estate acquisitions, and I got 3 babies. So it's been a little bit of a crazy week, but I will get back to you guys. Other than that, let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Ba-dum-bum. I think the worst intros you ever do are your own, by the way. But let's get into the questions, and I hope you guys get some real value out of these questions too. I find a lot of times when I've joined programs and masterminds, a lot of the most valuable stuff I've learned was from questions I never thought to ask that somebody else asked. So I hope you guys get a lot of that. Our man Cole's here on the backup mic. The road dog, Jesse. He knows. He gets my references. So Keith's up. He says, what are your favorite resources, books, courses for direct response copywriting? All right. I'm going to give you what I think is the number one best book in the world on that. And then I'm going to give you a caveat to that. So for me, I'm not saying this will be the best book for everybody, but the most mind blown I've ever been felt reading a copywriting book was Eugene Schwartz's Breakthrough Advertising. When I read that, it was like such an aha. And it's one of those books, I can read it 20 times and still pick up something new every single time I read it. It's old, it's out of date, and it's expensive. Although if you guys private message me and are discreet, I can send you a PDF copy. It's not super easy to get your hands on. A physical copy can cost you anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 typically. But if you'd like a discreet PDF, message me, and I'll send that to you. Having said that, though, what I don't think enough people understand. So they did 100 years of direct mail testing, and this is what they found. 60% of success in their direct mail campaigns came down to the list. In other words, just who they sent the goddamn letter to was the single most important thing. If you sent a financial newsletter to somebody who had bought 6 financial newsletters, you're going to have way more success. This is the same thing in the agency space. If you talk to a dentist who spends on 20 different marketing services and tell them this should be the 21st, you're going to have better success than if you contact somebody who doesn't buy. 30% of their success came down to the offer they made, and 10% was copywriting. So at the very least, offer making is a 3 to 4 times more valuable skill than direct response copywriting, right? Like, to give you an example, I've had a mentor make this point. Imagine you could have the best copywriter in the world and they had to sell $100 Amazon gift cards. And then imagine you had somebody who had for whatever reason, maybe they worked at Amazon, they could get the gift cards for $25 US, valued at 100, and they could sell them for $50, but you could only have like an average copywriter. Who do you think would do better, by the way? The person selling the $100 gift cards for $50 with average copywriting skills, or the best copywriter in the world trying to sell face value stuff? So what happens is when you stack the offer, you inherently make it more valuable than the money, and that does more of the selly, convincey, make you want to buy it stuff than any amount of copywriting. We actually just, like, it's been a while, but as you guys know, like we launched a course, a little mini course, and I've had people message me and saying like, dude, that's 10 times the value just from the first half hour than I paid for it. And that's by design, right? Like that we want to make the offer do the heavy lifting. So I hope you guys really focus on learning that skill, because I think it's more valuable than copywriting. But having said that, Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising, and shit will blow your mind, my man. Salman says, how consistent is your appointment setting and prospecting? I really hate it because I'm introverted and don't see results. Okay. This is something that I don't think enough people talk about, so I'm just going to get on my podium and say this. So Tim Ferriss wrote a book called Tools of Titans. He's written a few books. He's a 4-hour work week guy, for those of you guys who know him as that. But he's written a couple of books. And one of the books, Tools of Titans, is interviews with his most successful people. And in there is a section where he says, like, there's 17 or something life questions. He says, I don't try to have good answers. I try to have good questions, because if I ask myself good questions repeatedly, they'll repeatedly produce good answers in my life, as where a single good answer may be only valuable one time. And one of the questions I'll never, ever forget in the book is he said, what is the least crowded channel? And so he thought about this when he's trying to connect to another human being who's somewhere out there in the internet or in the world or whatever. And what most people do is go to, in my opinion, the most crowded channel. Email outreach is the most crowded channel in existence. Why? Because it's free. 2, it's easily accessible. It's also, because it's the most crowded channel, it is the most easy to fucking ignore. And so I'm not against outreach, but I don't understand why people have this obsession of going where it's the most crowded. It's like literally there's an 8-lane highway. I've had lawyers, by the way, tell me, they get pitched in their email 100 times per day. And I said, holy shit, there's that many marketers? And they said, it's not even just marketers. The real estate agents are calling me. The mortgage brokers are calling me. The insurance is calling me. The financial planners, I'm going to make you rich overnight. They said, I get pitched so much, I don't even have time to go through it all. And that's what you're dealing with. It's like going against an 8-lane highway. So what I suggest with you guys is figure out how to, at least for some of your business, drive some inbound intelligently. And what will happen is you'll start to swim with the current. Paid ads are one way to drive inbound. Content, another way to drive inbound. Collaborations and joint ventures with like really high value influencers, another way to drive inbound. So there's tons of ways you can bring it to you. And I'm a bigger believer in bring it to you, especially if you want to have a lifestyle agency and be kind of half-assed and lazy with it. I'm not saying you should be like lazy, but maybe more like strategic and energy efficient is a better way of describing that laziness. But good question, my man. There's lots of introvert-friendly ways to get deals, especially if, like, my first agency, I didn't really want to put myself out there. White label partnerships is another one. Other people just went and sold my services. We signed 3 to 5 new clients every week for, like, a year until I was, like, maxed out at capacity and just said, stop it, please, stop signing new clients because I can't keep up with the ones we have. And all of that was, like, 0 sales calls, right? So there's lots of ways you can do this. Adrian says, anyone has done successful lead generation for estate planning? Mind sharing how you structure your funnel for lead generation? PS, not real estate. Adrian, I've worked with lawyers of all type, including estate planners, so I've done a little bit of it. I'll tell you the funnel that worked with best with us is we had some guys that they're two partners that are in Minnesota, and they do estate planning. And when I talked to them, I said, like, what do you guys do differently? So for those of you guys who are not familiar with the niche, it's like when somebody wants a will or an estate plan is like a person who has $1 million, and when they die, they want to decide this much goes to the kids, this much goes here, this much goes to charity, this much goes to the wife, whatever, right? That they want somebody to line that out legally, so when they die, it automatically gets executed on their behalf. That's called an estate plan. And a lot of lawyers, by the way, do this for like $99, super cheap, super ghetto estate plans. And one of the things that they did differently, which was one of the keys that makes this thing work, is they set it up so that like you could divide money up with your kids in different ways based on triggers. So I guess like if a person if a person has $500,000 in cash to give out, they don't like to just give it to their kids in lump sum if they're 18 years old, because they're just going to spend it all on hookers and cocaine. So like they have to meet certain requirements to get the money released over time, kind of thing. Some parents like that. So what we did is we created a webinar about that, drove people to the webinar. They would sign up and it would just explain like all the different options. It was like a consultation, like lawyers are doing this anyway. So all we did is like kind of create a virtual consultation, explain the options, and then say, if you want to work with us at the end, you can get a free consultation. This is what our plans normally cost. And that was the whole funnel, by the way. There was no follow-up. There's no retargeting. I wish I could tell you it was more brilliant than that. It wasn't. Just run ads to a webinar. And I found that lawyers are not very good at doing webinars. So back in those days, what we did that worked was like I interviewed them about their process, and that was super helpful. So try something like that. It's worked for us in the past. Danny says, if I'm training a group that is in the general niche I am in and wanting to teach them how to do SEO, do I do the training for the general niche or do it for the $100 sub niche? Example, I'd like to offer your dentist group free training on how they can do their SEO and have their website show up on the first page of Google. Or do I say, I want to teach your dentist group how they can get more veneer leads by doing their own SEO? The short answer, Danny, is both can work. You can make a lot of money in both ways by finding people who have organized buyers communities and offering a free training. It's actually my favorite way to grow anything, because like I said, you can sign like 5 or 10 clients at once. For those of you guys who are in the soup to nuts, you have more detail on what I'm talking about. That's where the kind of question comes from. Having said that, like people would be interested in getting number one on Google, but especially as a general rule, if you can make your stuff, give them their highest value stuff, they'll want, like, it becomes more valuable. Like, so if there's a coach who has a $97 course in a $40,000 mastermind, like which one do you think they want to sell more of? So just saying like, hey, I can help you do SEO and get more leads is probably valuable, but saying, hey, I can do SEO to help you rank for your mastermind keywords and sell your $40,000 packages immediately makes it a more higher valuable kind of SEO thing. And so I used to experience this whenever we did plastic surgery SEO back in the day. Whenever I said like, hey, we'll get you more sales and more patients and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, I got ghosted all the fucking time. Like, hey, can you send us a proposal? Can you call us back? Can you follow up with us? And I hated all that shit, but I did it. And one day I mentioned, like, I had a plastic surgeon say, hey, can you make us a mommy makeover mini site? I said, yeah. They said, do you think there's keywords for it? We looked up. I said, yeah. They said, do you think you could rank it? And I said, yeah, because I could rank anything back in those days, but it was even easier than some of the main stuff. And they said, let's do it. And I didn't know this at the time, but I found out later that mommy makeovers are like procedures that almost always start at like $40,000 US. So in other words, they make a lot of fucking money. It's a $100 bill, as I would call that. And so whenever we said like, hey, let us build you a mommy makeover site and rank it for your $100 bill, no proposals, no talk it over. It was such a desirable offer that they just said, I want one. How do I get it? And we take their credit card, and there was no proposal. There was no write-up. That's the difference, by the way, is when you make a resistible offer, like to an irresistible offer. Having said that, there are people who are going to want to know how to do SEO. So both can work, but I'm just telling you guys, you'll make your life easier if you position your service around delivering $100 bills. Clients will like you more because they make more money and they work less. I'm like, who the fuck doesn't want that, right? Drew says, how can we find mastermind conferences in a way to network rather than virtual? Not sure I fully understand the question, but for the most part, like, Drew, like the masterminds and conferences and things are put on by people. So I'll tell you the easiest way we do this. I use a free plugin called Web Chat GTP. And what this does, it enables Chat GTP to scan current search results and then organize them and tell you what it found. And so it's like using Google, but at the same time, like using AI to compile it. And so I'll just say, like, what are the top masterminds for a coaching business? What are the top masterminds for a dentist? What are the top masterminds for personal injury attorneys? And then you wait about 30 seconds and it goes bloop, and gives you a list of them. So that's how you can do it. Like it's pretty easy to find if you just web chat GTP, the free plugin plus the AI, and combine those two things. Type in like, tell me the masterminds, tell me the conferences, and they'll spit them out. And then I just go look at like who's putting on the conference. It's usually not hidden. It's right on their website. And then that's the person you want to talk to if you're going to do something collaborative with them. Mohammed says, hello, everyone. We launched a short edit agency which can help you maximize your content outreach over social media and grow your business too. Who would be interested in trying to grow your social media? Mohammed, I almost deleted this post, but I thought this would be valuable if we do a critique on this to help you like dial in your stuff, because this is a thing a lot of people are struggling with. So there's like 3 super common mistakes you're making in your offer that are going to make it really hard to sell your shit. And it's a little bit counterintuitive, because what most people do is when they make an offer, they almost always think like big, I want it to have mass appeal. And we don't do mass appeal businesses. Like, we're not a Starbucks that's supposed to be an expertise-driven business is supposed to be the opposite. Like, a heart surgeon doesn't want everybody coming in off the street. He wants people of a certain age and a certain income who are interested in getting heart surgery. Like, that's what we want to design our expertise business. So, mistake number 1 I see with your offer is it's way too much about the hammer. When I say a hammer, it is like your thing. So in this case, it's short form content, but this could be equally true for those of you guys who do web design or pay-per-click ads through either Google or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, or doing SEO, like, or doing funnels, or these are all hammers. And what I mean by that is nobody wakes up in their right mind and thinks, what I want today is a hammer. They think they want to build something. Like they're actually trying to build stuff in their own lives. So I always say, like, maybe they're trying to build a birdhouse and have like their daughter smiling like, Daddy, we built a birdhouse. Or maybe they're trying to build a deck so they can have big barbecues out there all summer long. Or maybe they're trying to remodel a kitchen so they can entertain guests, right? But nobody wakes up that day and says, what I want is a hammer. So the worst thing you can do is talk about the hammer. Instead of what you want to talk about is choose an outcome and put your hammer on that. And the outcome's really simple, like finished birdhouse, smiling daughter. It is, we built a deck and now you can have giant barbecues. The outcome is, like, we can entertain clients. Now, I'll tell you, the second mistake you're making, and this is why the first mistake is happening, is because it's not clear who the fuck your offer is for. It's just like, we got hammers. And as a general rule, until you focus in on a niche and understand, like, who you're talking to, you can't really write a meaningful message. I'll give you an example of this so you really understand what I mean. I want you to write an ad in your mind right now, like really quickly, just a rough ad. I want you to think about an advertisement you would make to an athlete. If you're like most people, it's a little bit of a struggle. Like, you have more questions than answers, okay? But if I say, I want you to write an ad right now for a left-handed golfer with a slice, it's so much more specific that the ad almost writes itself. Dear left-handed golfer with a slice, did you know we're not like righties? Did you know this is the 5 reasons a slice happens? Did you know our doohickey gimmick can solve that problem, right? So almost always when you can't like describe the outcome, it's because you don't know who the fuck you're talking to. So narrow it down. Like I always say, in the ideal lifestyle agency, you're going to max out at like 100 clients. So don't try and make shit that appeals to everybody. Think smaller, but more meaningful, more focused. And then what will happen is it'll become obvious. Once you know who you're talking to, like once you know you're talking to a left-handed golfer with a slice, it becomes much more clear what kind of outcome they want, right? What does a left-handed golfer with a slice want? He wants to hit the ball fucking straight, right? So once you know what they're stuck on and who you're talking to, your message will have some more oomph. And there was a third thing that I wanted to mention. I'm going to have to read it real quick. Oh, This is a default thing that marketers do, is we sell outcomes. And I'll tell you the worst outcome in the world, and this is nothing against you, it's just like 8,000 other asshole marketers before you have ruined it. It is what I call the undefined more. More. We're going to get you more leads, more sales, more business, more. We're going to get you more booked appointments. It's undefined. It's never really clear when you hit more. It's very different if I say, hey, let me just bring you, I always say the best small but meaningful result is one. But if you had to bring somebody one of something, what would you bring them? Like, I'll bring you one mastermind person. I'll bring you one sale. I'll bring you one close. Like, whatever that is defined as is like, whatever that one is, that's what you want to talk about. So those are the three mistakes, by the way, and I see this over and over, is you're talking about your hammer instead of, and like talking about a hammer, another analogy I use is like an airplane ride, okay? Nobody wakes up and thinks, I want to get on an airplane today. They're all trying to get somewhere. And they're usually trying to get away from something. They're moving, it's 75% moving away from something, which is usually their current situation. So in the case of like a lot of people, like the office sucks and there's traffic and there's meetings and there's politics, they're moving away from that. And what are they moving towards? The beach, the sunshine, the mojitos and that kind of thing, right? And so the worst thing you can do is sell the plane ride and say, we got comfy chairs, our plane is ergonomic, our hammer has a nice extra steel, blah blah blah. They don't give a fuck about any of that. What they want to know is, hey dude, if you buy this hammer, I will get you away from the office, the traffic, and the politics. Or if you buy this plane ride, and I will get you to the beach in the sunshine and the glory. And so the best end result is one of something. So those are the three things. Figure out who you're talking to. Figure out what result they want. And then don't do the more. Do like a defined something. Like it should be clear when it's finished. I'm going to bring you one motorcycle case in the next 90 days. That's like a real defined thing, right? That's very different than I'm going to bring you more leads, more sales, blah, blah, blah. And it's not anything you've done wrong. It's just like 18,000 other asshole marketers have ruined more, the endless undefined more before you. So don't do that. Heather says, oh, I think I skipped one. Danny here, sorry. Danny number 2. Does anyone have any ideas for how to serve businesses that are not in our niche or sub-niche or for some other reason don't qualify? Yeah, I'll illustrate this with a story, Danny. There's a right and a wrong way to handle this. I'll tell you what, in my opinion, is the wrong way, is to try and serve those people. Okay, so I did this in my first agency. Like we did like 75% SEO for plastic surgeons, but if somebody came along with a credit card, I pretty much said yes. So if somebody said like, can you make WordPress? Like, yes, I can. Can you run Google ads? Yes, I can. Do you do bankruptcy lawyers? Sure, why not? And I started saying yes. Do you do video editing? I said yes and yes to everything. And what happened is I got bogged down in so much custom work and I felt burnt out and people were asking me, where is this? And it wasn't easy to hire people either, because it's not like if somebody hires you as a generalist, and you're not saying no to these one-off projects, it's not like you have this huge budget to pay people. So I was trying to find people on Fiverr and Upwork who could do a good job, and there's so many challenges and struggles with that. So that's the wrong way to do it, in my opinion. The right way is what I think is when people bring you one-off shit is to refer them. And actually, this ends up coming back to you anyway, because if, like, say somebody comes to me and says, like our second agency, all we did is Facebook ads for personal injury lawyers. We were one of the first people to get into that space, if not the first. I don't know. I'm sure other people had the idea at the same time, but I didn't know anybody else doing it when we started. And one of the things that we did is whenever somebody came to us with anything so that wasn't Facebook ads for personal injury lawyers, we said no. So if somebody said, hey, can you do Facebook ads for a bankruptcy lawyer? Can you do it for estate planning? I said no. And if they said, can you do Google ads or web design or whatever? I said no. And the difference is when they ask for these things, to serve them the answer to your question is one word, which is refer. And I would say, hey, I know a really good Google ads guy. I know a really good video editor. I'm going to recommend you to so-and-so. And almost always, by the way, those people felt the obligation to send me people back. But what ends up happening is then you have this tiny, narrow deliverable, which scales way better. Because now, whenever I figure out an ad that works for a personal injury lawyer, I can run it for all 50 of my clients, right? Like I don't have to come up with new ads and new hooks. So it's more like to get results is more copy and pasting. And that's what you want, is you're leasing your assets, you're copying and pasting your tools and your systems and things that work. and it just scales better and it makes more money. And this is the thing that took me a long time to wrap my head around. It's better for the clients. Like, why wouldn't it be, right? It works better. It works faster. They don't want custom work as much as we think. They want the result of what you're doing, and results are easier to do when you've already got it set up and figured out. I always say the secret to this, especially if you're running paid ads, is if even before you sign client number 2 or number 3, you're already 90% finished because you've already got everything you need. So hope that helps you, Danny. But that's the biggest thing is whenever they come outside your thing, refer them out. There's a tendency to want to take it because it's like cash today, but I promise you it'll defeat everything you're doing tomorrow if you don't learn the discipline of deciding on one core competency and then staying within that like kind of one area. Heather says, has anyone had any luck with travel agencies as your niche? I'm looking into this as I'm not sure if there's really enough travel agencies out there that meet the requirements for digital marketing. Thoughts? Heather, there's very few times where I say that's a bad niche, but I actually think this is one of those cases. That's a bad niche. And I'll tell you why is because the market for do-it-yourself, like I would never hire a travel agency personally, and there's a lot of people like me. I'm just going to go to like, one of the 18 zillion online booking sites where I can get my hotels and flights and I can price it and change it and I can do all of that in 5 minutes. So I wouldn't try and do that unless, and this is a very, very big asterisk, unless it was something like super specialized that they can't just get on an easy website. But I don't even know what that is. I would say probably just avoid that niche unless you have like a real affinity for it and you really know it and you really like it. But generally niches where people can easily do it themselves don't make for good niches as a general rule. And I think Guys, if you like this video, you're also going to want to grab some free bonuses, which you can get at our website, Beyond Agency Profits. To make it easy for you, I've put the links to it in the description of this video, as well as pinned in the top comment. And we've got a couple of awesome things. This is what you'll get after you sign up. You get some of our best training, how we're closing clients over Loom videos, how we sometimes sign clients that is not a misprint for under $5 US, how to demonstrate your value in like amazing ways, trainings, how to have your clients write the best copy of your life, how we're closing without phone calls, campaigns that we've generated for clients that have done over $100,000, as well as scripts you can use to get conversations going with clients in under 10 minutes. All you got to simply do is go there, enter your name and email address, and then this is what you'll see on the other side. So if that's interesting to you, make sure to click the links below, and I will see you on the other side.